It's time to talk to the injury expert, which is, of course, Will Carroll, the best in the business. For those of you, before you make any kind of wager this weekend and you want to find out what's going on in the world of sports, some of the big injuries. First, we're going to start off with an injury that is the most important one for Dolphin fans and some NFL fans, of course, which is Mr. Tua. But let's bring him first aboard. Will, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing, sir?
I'm cold, sir. It is cold here in Indianapolis, so I'm feeling very envious of you guys down there.
Oh man, yeah, I know how it is sometimes, especially when it can get cold, man, and the wind. That's the thing about Indy that people don't realize. That wind sometimes when you're walking around downtown,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
baby will slice you in half, brother. Wow.
Yes, that is it. But yeah, you'll be here soon enough.
Yes, yes. Anyway, let's get into this here now. Tua, you gave us the scoop and the latest on his injury on Friday last week. What I wanted to do is follow up now. And, a couple months back, we talked about Dennis Pitta, and you kind of compared the injuries now. From all the
Yeah.
information that you've gathered now, where he's at, and his recovery and all of that, is it a lot like the Pitta injury? Where do you stand on that and his recovery? I know none of us can predict what kind of durability he's going to have from here on out.
Yeah, I think, talking to people around the league, it's less about this injury than it is all the other injuries he's had. This one's crazy. You can compare it to Dennis Pitta, that's the closest. Is it the exact same? Nope, it's not the exact same. It's really not even that close. It's hip, but the way they dealt with this is different. The rehab is different. There's actually less damage. It was more violent, but less damage, if that makes sense. It broke, and the bone popped out, which sounds terrible. But once they got it back in and glued everything back together, and yeah, it was glued. It should hold up. The problem is the people that have this are normally in car crashes. People have large falls, and they come back from it, but they're not playing quarterback in the NFL. Can his ankles hold up? Well, they should now because he's had both of them completely repaired. But is something else going to break? Is he just fragile? It's interesting. A lot of cases like this, we try to figure things out around them, and there is a great comp for Tua, and that's his brother. Who hasn't played as much, obviously. It's his younger brother, also a quarterback at Alabama. But he's had none of these injury problems. Thing is, Tua didn't really have injury problems in high school either. So there's just nothing to really compare this to. So you have to believe, first, that he's healthy, and B, that your doctors and athletic trainers can keep him healthy. And more teams I've talked to, they haven't made their decision. They haven't seen everything. They haven't gotten their hands on it. But talking to the doctors involved, I think they're becoming more and more comfortable. And I continue to think he's not going to go 5 to the Dolphins. I think he's going to go 3. And I'm not sure who's going to trade up to that Detroit Lions pick. But I do think he's going to be the second quarterback chosen.
Wow. That to me is baffling that you're going to take a guy that high, that is that injury prone and is fragile. Now let me ask you, while those ankles are repaired, what's it stopping him from having the same kind of injury happening again? Did they do something that it may prevent that?
Yeah, they actually use what's called a tightrope technique, where it's Kevlar now. Forget repairing the tendon that's in there, ligament in this case. It's the syndesmosis, high ankle, when we talk about a high ankle sprain. Rather than repairing or replacing the ligament, they just put wires of Kevlar in there. So that, at least, absent something truly horrendous, is not going to break again. But then again,
and it gives, right? And it gives too at the same time, right?
A little bit, but no more than natural. They've really done a lot with these. The internal brace is an amazing technology, and if you go back a couple of years ago, if you just search for my name and internal brace, there was an article I did at FanSided. which was pretty much the first one breaking down exactly what this is and how we could use it. And we're seeing it more and more. The question with Tua is there some fragility in his ligaments or tendons or, in this case, bones? I don't think we can take this hip injury as anything other than freakish. Could he blow out a knee? Yeah, but so could every other quarterback out there. Who's to say a guy who was really almost never injured in college, in Andrew Luck, isn't going to have injury problems in the pros, which he did. Let's face it, some guys can't hold up for whatever reason.
Wait a minute. That one I got to disagree with you on that one, because the Indianapolis Colts allowed his ass to take a beating, just a severe beating that anybody would break down from. That's really, it wasn't because I don't believe Luck was injury prone. I just think anybody will be injury prone if they allow you to take a beating the way they let him take a beating. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
It's not like Tua.
I'm not blaming him as injury prone. I'm saying he had a number of injuries. You could say the same thing about Tom Brady. If you take a hit low, that knee's going to go.
That's right.
So everybody's one play away.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But oh, man, he scares me at that top pick. I get it. The Dolphins have 400 picks, so it's a little easier for them to take that chance at number 5. But trading up for the guy, that would be kind of crazy. All right, Damian Lillard just dropped out of the All-Star game with a groin injury. How bad is it?
Not horrible. This is one of those that if this were, it's the proverbial, if this were the playoffs, he'd be playing. He's a very agile player. Obviously, he's in the NBA, but he's more so than most. That shake and shimmy that he has is a strong part of his game. So they're just taking the chance to rest him to make sure this doesn't become something worse than what it is. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's grade 1 strain. I wouldn't worry too much about this long term.
All right. Then next up here, we've got Kyrie Irving with the knee. What's the latest there?
This really isn't about the knee anymore. He should be back by now. If he's continuing to have problems, which I don't think he is, then, that would be serious. But let's face it, the Nets aren't really even trying at this stage. And Kyrie is Kyrie. Can we just shrug at this stage and say it's just Kyrie?
Okay. All right. Steph and the hand. What's the latest? Yeah. And do they even – I wouldn't play him this. It's not like he needs to test out his shooting or anything like that. This is the god of shooting, bro. I mean, I'd rather not even play his ass on the worst team in the league this year. But you tell me, do they have really any plans? Because it says like March, so we're getting close now. Are they going to bring him back?
This is an interesting one because obviously, Durant is gone. Klay Thompson is down with the knee, and we haven't really seen him coming back like we would expect. In the same way we haven't seen Durant coming back like we'd expect, though he's not a Warrior anymore. They've just had tons of injuries. With Steph, you're right. If they did a very, very technical surgery, more than you would normally do, but it's for his touch. He wanted to make sure he had the very best possible chance of 100% recovery. The interesting and confounding part here is, let's say you sit him out all season. Does it help or does it hurt? It really doesn't matter. It comes down to tanking and having a good excuse for it. But Steph has another confounding factor, which is the Olympics. If you sit him out all season, but then he immediately goes and starts practicing for the Olympics, doesn't Adam Silver have something to say about that? Wouldn't some of the opponents kind of raise an eyebrow at that one? We're going to have to come up with some sort of rule about if you're medically cleared, you must play. Otherwise, this whole rest rule that you can't rest here and you can rest there they've got to throw that out too.
Yeah, but we're kind of being hypocrites here because I kind of understand if it's my superstar. And that guy's the reason, one of the reasons why I've won 3 titles, and this is a useless year. And why am I going to put him out there with a whole bunch of other guys that are just guys? I got a problem with that. You know what? I don't get mad because they're resting him or they're letting him just have the rest of the year off so he can get completely healthy. This is a fragile player. This is a guy that's had a lot of injuries in his career. This might be a beneficial season to him to extend his career because he gets a whole year of his body actually resting and no wear and tear. So next year, I get Clay and Steph super fresh. I kind of like that if I'm the Warriors. And you know what? As an NBA fan and a Heat fan, I totally understand what they're doing. And if Miami was in that same position, I wish Riley and Spo would do the same thing. I got no problem with it.
I absolutely agree. Hey, I hate to do this. I've got to cut out a little early.
Okay.
As you know, I'm coaching this year.
Yes.
We got a baseball team, and we're opening this weekend. Our bus is getting ready to peel out.
Go.
So I've got to go. But thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you next week.
You got it, baby. Be good. Thank you. There you go. The great Will Carroll, baby, injury expert, joining us on the program. I got no problem with that. They might be tanking. I don't care, man. That's Kyrie. Kyrie. That's Steph Curry, man.
That's your main guy. That's your franchise, man.
Yeah, man. I got
and they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're the worst team in the league. They are the worst team in the league.
Unless the owner is putting money on the game and he needs to get Stephen, like that.
Last time I checked, his name is not Rose. So, I mean, I got no problem with that. If people get mad at the Warriors because they keep Steph out for the rest of because they had him coming back in March, but they keep him out for the rest. Oh, please. Who cares?